Hi, hello, welcome to Easy Nurse, where nursing education made easy. So here I am start with the Lakshya 3.40. Here mainly we are going to focus with the important question and answer that is coming for a upcoming year exam. Okay, so whatever the questions I am going to discuss here, it is all like a most repeated questions only. So the students who all are going to write the exam for the PBBSC second year, that is mainly with the sociology. I am going to discuss here the sociology. Please be concentrate and alert. Okay, so whatever I'm going to discuss here, that's the most repeated questions that will be there, so you can able to get the good marks in your upcoming exam. So when you're coming to the sociology, so sociology you're going to write for the 3 hours, right? So the 3 hours you're going to write the exam, that is for the 75 marks. So when you're going to write the sociology subject, so usually the exam pattern, it will be there with the long essay, short essay and the short answer. So long essay usually you are going to write for the 20 marks, that is each questions carries the 10 marks. Okay, so each questions carries the 1 second, sorry. Okay, you are going to write the long essay, that is a 2 questions you are going to attend the long essay, that is each question carry the 10 marks. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Each question carry with the 10 marks. So total long essay you are going to write for the 20 marks. Then short essay you are going to write for the, that is 7 questions you are going to write for the 35 marks. That is each questions carries the 5 marks. Then one more is a short answer. So short answer means that is you are going to write with the 10 questions. That is each questions carries the 2 marks. That is total it come with the 20 marks. So totally you are going to write the long essay, short essay and the short answer. So let me discuss with the how the exam pattern will be there. On the basis of that only I am going to discuss here. So coming to the long essay, the questions it will be like this, that is a application of the sociology in nursing, and one more question like a causes of the population explosion in India and its impact on health. Okay, so the question will be like this, whatever the questions, whenever you are going to write, read it properly in an exam. Okay, so understand what the question they have asked and what supposed to write for the particular marks. Okay, then the short essay it will be there, that is a difference between the society and the community, and one more question, that is the influence of the culture on the health, like how the culture that will be influencing on the health, and the isolation has a social process, demographic features of the population distribution in India, forms of the marriage, characteristics of the modern family, and one more question that is under the short essay, that is a factors of social changes. So these are the questions it will comes with the short essay. Then the short answer, like usually as I said in the beginning only, you are going to write the short answer for the 20 marks, that is each questions carries the 2 marks. Okay, so the main type of the questions it will be coming for the short answer, like a immoral traffic act, consequence marriage, medical sociology, types of conflict, apartheid, crowd, health programs in India, then personal disorganization, social control, and one more is a casteism. So let's me discuss with the each question, like what the question they have asked and what's supposed to write for that particular question. So when you're coming to the long essay, the first question it was there like the application of the sociology in nursing. So this is one of the main question, usually it will be there in every exams. Okay, so either they'll be asking what's the meaning of the sociology, or the scope of the sociology, or the application of the sociology in nursing. So like why nurses has to study the sociology. Sociology is a study of the society, social behavior and relationship among the people. Okay, so what do you mean by sociology? It is nothing but it is a study of the society. So we are going to study the society, like how the social structure is there, how the society is there, how the culture that will be influencing in the society, all these things, and social behavior, how the social behavior that is present in the society, and the among the relationship, that is how the relationship it will be there among the peoples. Then its application, the why the nurses has to study the sociology, it helps the nurses, especially especially with the understanding the patient. So like when the nurses they are going to give care for the patient, it will be understanding the patient in the social context. Okay, so like a different peoples they will be admitted in a hospital. As a nurse, when you are going to give care for the patient, so we have to understand their social background, that is especially with the how the social control is there, then how what's the casteism, what's the culture, how the culture that will be influencing their health, what is the knowledge of the health of the particular patient, whether they have belief in the culture, everything we have to understand when we are going to give the care. On the basis of that only we have to give care for the patient, right? So this is how the application of the sociology in the nursing, that is we are going to write here. So that is the understanding with the patient behavior. So it will be helps the nurses especially understanding with the patient social, like how the social background is there for the patient, and how the culture and the economic background of the patient, that is also influencing with the health of the person. That is also that will be make the nurses to understand and give care for the patient. Then effective communication, as with the study of the sociology, what will happen for the nurses, it aid in the dealing with the patient, that is form of the different social group, like a different social group of the peoples they'll be admitted in a hospital. So it will be makes nurses especially to give the proper communication and the message and give the care for the patient. And the health education, so as the nurses when they are giving a health education for the patient, it will be enables the nurses to plan the health teaching based on their community beliefs and the practices, like how the community beliefs of the patient has admitted, like what are the practices they are going to do in their family, all these things we can able to understand. And the community health nurse, especially when the nurses they are going to work within the community setup, it will be helps the nurses to identify the social factor affecting their health and the illness, like how the different type of the illness that will be affecting in the particular society, what's their beliefs, what is their practices, what is their culture, all these things we can able to understand, and we can able to give the care for the peoples in the community setup. And the promotion of the social justice, especially what will happen with the nurses, as the nurses when they are going to give care for the patient in a hospital, it will be encourages with the equal care, like when they are going to study the sociology, we can able to understand the peoples that is admitted in a hospital, and whatever the care we are going to give for the patient, we are going to give the equal care regardless of their culture, class, religion and the caste. Okay, next one is the understanding of the social problems. So as the nurses they can able to understand and manage, they can able to understand and manage the issues like poverty, alcoholism and the family conflict that will be affecting the health, like there is a many social problems that will be existing in the society. As the sociology, what will happen, it helps the nurses to understand which are the social problems, then what's the main causes for the social problems, then what's the treatment, and how we are going to solve the problems. On the basis of that we can understand the social problems and we are going to give care for the patient. And one more is that is improving the nurse-patient relationship, like while studying with this sociology, what will happen, it enhances with the nurse-patient relationship, like what's the care we are going to give for the patient, that will be built with the empathy and the cultural sensitivity. So these are the main application of the sociology in the nursing. So this is what the nurses has to study the sociology, that is understanding with the social behavior of the patient and making with the proper effective communication. Then it also giving a proper health education for the patient, understanding with their cultural practices. Then it also makes with the promotion of the social justice with the equal care, that is what we are going to give with the regardless of the caste, class or religion. And it also helps the nurses to maintain with that building with the proper communication and the care what we are going to give care for the patient. So this is the application of the sociology in the nursing. Next we will see with the another question, that is the causes of the population explosion in India and its impact on health. Okay, so what are the main causes for the population explosion in India? That is what we have to understand, what the question they have asked and how it will be impacting on the health of the people. So when you coming to the population explosion, what do you mean by population explosion? So it is refers to the rapid increasing in the population. So there is a rapid increasing in the population, it will be there that exceed carry the capacity of the region. So more than like a what's the population capacity, it will be there. More than that, it will be there. That's the exit, it will be there of that particular region. So what's the main causes for this population explosion? So the main question they have asked here, there is a causes of the population explosion. Okay, so the what's the main causes, like why the population explosion is happening? That is the main thing we have to look into that. That is the first one is a high birth rate. So high birth rate, because of the high birth rate also there is a population explosion is happening. So due to either it may be because of the early marriage, okay, because of the early marriage, and there is a lack of the family planning, like so they're not using the family planning, or they're not having aware about the family planning also. There is a chances of the population explosion, and the declining in the death rate. So what has happened nowadays, there is a decreasing in the mortality rate it has happened because of the improved with the medical facilities. So as the medical technological advances has happening in the society, so there is a declining in the death rate is happening. So because of that, there is a population explosion is happening. Then one more is a illiteracy and the ignorance about the birth control and the methods, like whatever the family planning methods they have to adapt as a couples who all are there. So they doesn't know, they are illiterate about the family planning methods and the birth control methods. So because of that also there is a population explosion is happening. And one more is a religious and the cultural beliefs, like few peoples are in the few family, what will happen, they'll be encouraging for the larger family. So as according to they have to encourage for the family, especially with the larger family, so their beliefs what it will be there, and the cultural practices that is also enhancing with the population explosion. And there's a preference for the male child. So the family who will be there has they are wanted only the male child. So there is a repeated pregnancy is happening in those families. So the family who will be having that repeated pregnancy, they are wanted only the male child. So that is also one of the main causes. And the lack of the recreational and the awareness in the rural area. So this is also one of the main factor for the population explosion. So these are the main causes for the population explosion. Then one more question in the same question they have asked, that is how it will be impacting on the health. Like if the population explosion is there, how it will be impacting on the health. So coming to the impact of the health, like how it is impacting on the health, especially with the population explosion, overcrowding it will be there. So when the overcrowding, what will happen, it will be leading with the spread of the communicable diseases. So there is a more chances of the spreading of the communicable diseases, it will be there because of the population explosion. And there is a poor nutrition due to the food shortage. So when there is a population explosion, what is happening, what will happen, there is a poor nutrition, then it will be leading with the food shortage within the society. Then one more impact on the health, that is a main thing that is focusing, that's unemployment and the poverty. So that will be affecting with the health and the sanitation. Then one more is a inadequate health facilities and poor maternal and the child health services, it will be there. So when there is a population explosion is happening, what will happen, the ratio of the giving a healthcare services for the peoples, it will be reduces. Okay, there is a inadequate health facilities, it will be there. Then there is a poor maternal child health services also, it will be happening. Then one more is a environment pollution and the water scarcity also, there is a chances of this because of the population explosion. And there is a mental stress. So mental stress, why it is happening, because of the population explosion, there is a competition and the poor living condition. So this is one of the main factors because of the population explosion. So this is how the impact on the health because of the population explosion. Next we will see the next we will see with the short essay. Under that first question, there is a difference between the society and the community. So when coming to the difference between the society and the community, so the main thing we are going to discuss here, that is how the society is differentiated from the community. Okay, so what do you mean by society? So society is a group of the people sharing a common culture and the social relationship. Okay, so here there is not limited to a particular place. Okay, so the area what it is there, it is not limited only the particular place, it can be occupied for the larger area also. The relationship what it will be there within the society, like how the people have that proper relationship, that is a indirect or a formal relationship they are going to maintain. And the size usually it will be very larger and the more complex it will be there. And usually what the example we can give for the society, that is a Indian society. Then coming to the community, so how it is different from the society we are going to see here. So when you're coming to the community is like a small group, okay, group of the peoples usually living in a specific locality with a common interest. Like a group of the peoples all are having a same interest, with the common interest they'll be having with the smaller age of the smaller area of the that whatever the area it will be built. And usually area it will be existing in a definite geographical area. So like a definite geographical area, all the peoples they'll be living. So the relationship what they are going to maintain here, there is a direct and the personal relationship they'll be there among the peoples who all are living in that particular community. Okay, so usually the size of the community it will be there very smaller and close knit. Okay, so the smaller area of the community, the peoples they'll be living, they'll be having a close relationship among the peoples. And usually what's the example we are going to give for this community is a village community. So this is what's the difference you are going to write for the society and the community. Next question we are going to see, that is the influence of the culture on the health. So when you coming to the influence of the culture on the health, like how the culture that will be affecting on the health or how it will be influencing on the health. So what do you mean by culture? First we will see. Okay, so culture it refers to the way of the life of the people, like the way of the life of the people that will be including with their beliefs, customs, traditional values, language, art, food, clothing and the behavior that are passed from one generation to the another generation. Okay, so whatever the beliefs it will be there, it will be passing from one generation to the another generation. Usually they are going to pass it, that is what the culture they are going to maintain with their beliefs, traditional values, arts, language, food, everything. So you all know India is the prime example for the unity in the diversity. So there is a many language peoples and many religion, caste, every people they are living. Okay, so we will see how influence of the culture on the health. So coming to the first is the food habit. So when you coming to the food habit, usually culture determines the diet pattern which will be affecting the nutrition. Okay, so like how the nutrition, especially in the few culture, they are going to follow with the only particular food, either it may be vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. So they are going to following that one only. That is also that will be maintaining the health, that will be promoting the health of the persons who are eating only that particular type of the food. And the health beliefs, like a few in the few culture, what will happen, they are having that beliefs about the traditional, especially with the traditional beliefs that will be acceptance on the modern medicine. Okay, then one more is a clothing and the hygiene, like a cultural practice that are affecting with the cleanliness, like how the culture they are going to maintain with the cleanliness within the family, that is also promoting the health and exposure to the diseases. Like if they are not maintaining the proper sanitation within the family or within the culture, that is also influencing with the affecting with the communicable diseases, all those things. Then one more is a health seeking behavior, especially with this culture what will happen, there is a decides with the preference for the home remedies and the hospital. Okay, few culture what will happen, they will be seeking, okay, if they are not feeling well, they are going to take with the only the home remedies, that is what's the following within their culture, like a Ayurvedic, whatever it may be. So whatever the cultural practices they are going to do, so that is only they are following, that is that will be enhancing or promoting the health of the peoples within the culture. Then one more is a reproductive practices, especially beliefs about the childbirth and the family size. Like a few families they wanted particularly about the male child, and the few family that will be particularly wanted with the larger family. So that is also influencing their maternal health. Okay, so this is how the culture that will be influencing on the health. Okay, so if they are asking any question like this, you are going to write the answer. Next we will see one more question in the short answer. short essay, that is a isolation as a social process. So as they asked the question, there is a isolation as a social process. So first we are going to write what you mean by isolation. So isolation is a state in which an individual or a group is separated from the social interaction. Either it may be an individual or a group of the people, they are going to separate it from the social interaction. There is no interaction or a communication, it will be there within the individuals or within that group of the peoples, usually it will be there. So when you coming to the types of the social isolation, there is a complete isolation, it will be there. Complete isolation means total separation, it will be there with the group of the peoples or a particular individual. And there is a partial isolation. Okay, here what will happen? Only the limited social contact. Okay, whatever the needed thing, needed requirement will be there, only that persons or that group of the peoples, they are going to make the interaction. And the physical isolation, here what will happen? Due to the geographical distance, like there is a larger distance between one group of the peoples to the another group of the peoples, so they are not having that communication or interaction, it will be there because of the geographical distance what they are going to, it will be there. And one more is a social isolation. So this is because of the discrimination or illness, like if the person who is having any illness factor, for example, when you take some communicable diseases or whatever, some chronically ill illness the person is having, so from the society only they are going to make as a isolation. As a individual also, that person, they are going to make the isolation from himself. So these are the different type of the isolation. There is a complete isolation, partial isolation, physical isolation, and the social isolation. Then coming to the social processes, like how this isolation that will be affecting as a social process, like how the isolation that will be affect, it will be there. So usually when the isolation is happen, what will happen? There is a loneliness, it will be there, and the person will go for the depression. There is either individual or a group of the people, they are going for the depression, and there is a reduced social skills. Then there is a poor health outcome, it will be there. Along with also there is a lack of the social support. Like if the isolation is there, if they are not coming as an individual by themselves, so no one is going to force them. There is a lack of the social support also is happening. So this is how it will be affected. So this is about the isolation as a social process. Next we will see one more question. There is a demographic feature of the population distribution in India. Like how this population distribution it is happen in India on the basis of the demographic feature. So when you coming to this population distribution, usually we are going to make it the distribution on the basis of the size, density, age, composition, sex ratio, urban rural distribution, literacy rate, and one more is the occupation. Coming to the size, like how the Indian population is over with the 1.4 billion. This is what you all know. There's India is the second largest size, especially in the population in the world. Then coming to the density, there is a high density. Usually it will be there, that is approximately about 480 person per square feet kilometer. Then coming to the age composition, so usually youthful population with the larger working age group, what we are going to see in India especially. And coming to the sex ratio, as according to the census of the 2021, about 2020 females per 1000 males. Okay, then coming to the urban rural distribution, like how the distribution that will be happen between the urban and the rural. Usually about 65% the population you are going to see only in the rural area, and 35% of the population you are going to see in a urban area. Then coming to the literacy rate, around 75% of the literacy it will be available. And coming to the population in India, usually there is a majority of the peoples, they are engaged in the agriculture. Okay, so this is how the distribution, especially with the demographic feature of the population distribution in India. Then coming to the form of the marriage. So when you come into the form of the marriage, it's the most important repeated question usually they are asking. So what do you mean by marriage? So marriage is a socially and legally recognized union between the two individuals. Okay, so it is a socially and the legally recognized union between the two individuals, usually a man or a woman, in which they became a partner in the life. They are going to establish the family, shares the responsibility responsibility, rights and the duties. So when you're coming to the forms of the marriage, like which are the different forms of the marriage, when you're coming to the forms of the marriage, usually there is a monogamy. So monogamy means it's a, what will happen here, one man married to a only one woman. Okay, so monogamy is nothing but one man married to a only one woman, it will be there. Then coming to the next, one more type of the marriage, that is a polygamy. Here what will happen with this polygamy, one person married to a multiple partners. Okay, so in this polygamy, one person married to a multiple partners. Under this polygamy, again there is a different type, there is a two types, there is a polygamy and the polyandry. So what do you mean by this polygamy? Polygamy means here what will happen, usually one man married to a many wife. Okay, one man married to a many wife, that is comes with the polygamy. And polyandry means here one woman married to a many husbands. Okay, polyandry means one woman married to a many husbands. Then one more type of the marriage, that is a endogamy. So endogamy, what will happen with this marriage, within the same caste or a tribes. Okay, within the same caste and a tribe they are going to get married, that is a endogamy. And one more is the exogamy. Exogamy means here what will happen, marriage outside the own caste and the group. Like they are not going to marriage within the caste, outside of the caste they are going to get married, that is a exogamy. Next one more is a love marriage and the arranged marriage. So based on their personal choices or a family arrangement, they are going to make the marriage, that is especially with the love marriage, and one more is a arranged marriage. Okay, so these are the different forms of the marriages. Then coming to the next question is the characteristics of the modern family. So when you're coming to the characteristics of the modern family, so you know there is a different type of the family, right? So there is a nuclear family, joint family is there, and the extended family is there. Okay, so when you're coming to this modern family usually it is a small size. So it is a one type of the nuclear families are common. Okay, in the nuclear family it's a modern family, it's a main common. And usually here what will happen in this modern family, there is a equal status of the woman. Okay, so there is a woman participate in the decision making, it will be there. And there is a emotional bonding, like especially relationship based over on the love and the understanding, and it is less authority of the elders. Like usually this modern family it's most common in a nuclear family, right? So there is a reduced control by the parents or elders, there is no elder members will be there, so there is a less authority of the elders, it will be there. And one more is a urban lifestyle. So usually the modern family we are going to see in the usually in the urban lifestyles, there is a shift from the joint to the independent living, that is what you are going to see in this modern family. And the economic independence, so usually both the partners they may be earning, like both started to working, so there is a more economic independent, it will be there with the both partners. Next one more is the factors of the social change. So when you come into the factors of the social change, so like which are the main factors that will be affecting for the social changes. So first we will see what we mean by social change. So social change, it refers to the alteration or a modification in the social structure, culture, behavior and the institution of society over a period of the time. Okay, so when you come into the what is the main factors that will be affecting for the social change, like what are the main factors, like what are the social changes is happen, what's the main factors that will be happening. So first one is the education. So education, it will be promoting with the awareness and the modernization, like there is a advanced technology of the education that is happening, though that is what will be happening, there's a modernization, usually it will be influencing with the social change. Every peoples or peoples in the society, usually they are going to adapting for the social changes what is happening because of the education, like whatever the knowledge that will be influencing on them. Next one is a technology. So there is a technological advance, it is happening in the science, that will be changes with the lifestyles, like nowadays there is a lot of technological changes that is happening in all the setup, so that is also influencing with the social change. And one more is the industrialization. So with this industrialization, what will happen with the social change? There is a creating with the new occupation and the urbanization, like a new job opportunities they are going to create with this because of the social change. As with the industrialization, usually because of this, what will happen, peoples in the rural area, they are going to migrate to the urban. Okay, so that is what the usually more peoples they are going to settle in the urban because of the seeking for the employment, what it will be there. That is what happening with the social change and the legislation. So there is a lot of the changes is happening with the laws, that is especially with the social change. That is a abolish of the old customs, like a whatever the old custom before and all they are practicing as a one of the cultural practices, it will be there with the child marriage and all. They are going to abolish all those as because of the social changes. There is a new law they are going to bring out with this social change. And one more is a communication and the media. So there is a spreading with the new ideas rapidly, as there is a nowadays there is a lot of social communication is improving with the many communication technology. So that is what it will be spreading as the messages they are going to spread with the very new with the rapidly. And there is a war and the revolution, that is also bring sudden changes because of this social changes. And there is a cultural contact. So usually with this cultural contact, what will happen, there is an exchange between the society. As with the urbanization or because of the social change, what will happen, there is a cultural contact, there is a exchanging of the cultural their thoughts, religions, whatever the beliefs, values, everything, there is a changes, it will be happening between the one culture to the another culture. That is what we are going to call it as a trans culture. So these are the factors of the social change, like how the different factors that will be influencing for this social changes. Next we will see short answers. That is the first question under the short answer is a Immoral Traffic Act. So what do you mean by this Immoral Traffic Act? So an act passed in the 1956 to prevent the human trafficking and the sexual exploitation. So especially on the women and for the children's. This is also called as a SITA. That is what we are going to call it as a Suppression of Immoral Traffic in Women and the Girls Act. Okay, so this act mainly to prevent the human trafficking and the sexual exploitation, especially on the women and the children's. Next one is a consanguineous marriage. So what do you mean by this consanguineous marriage? A marriage that is happening between the blood relatives, like within the family only they are going to get married. So especially like if the mother's brother is there, or between the cousins only they are going to get married. That is a close family members they are going to choose and they are going to get married. That is what we are going to call it as a consanguineous marriage. Then one more is a medical sociology. So when you coming to the sociology, there is a different type of the field they are going to see in a sociology. So under that, this medical sociology is also one of the field. So what do you mean by this medical sociology? It is one of the branch of the sociology that studies the social factors affecting the health, illness and the medical care. Next we will see one more question, there is a types of the conflict. So when you coming to the conflict, what will happen usually with this conflict, there's a struggles happen between the individuals, groups, usually arising from the opposing with their interest, values, beliefs, whatever it may be. So when you coming to the types of the conflict, there is a personal conflict, group conflict and the class conflict and the international conflict. So these are the different type of the conflict. Next we will see one more question, there is a apartheid. So what do you mean by this apartheid? So apartheid is one of the system of the racial segregation practiced in the South Africa, that is especially between the 1948 and 1994. Okay, so that is what the one of the racial segregation usually that is practiced in the South Africa, that is between 1948 and 1994. Next we will see one more is a question, there is a crowd. So what do you mean by crowd? So usually in the crowd what will happen, there is a temporary gathering of the people, it will be happening. So the gathering of the people individual with the common interest or a emotion in a particular place. Like you can see there is a family gather or a political gather, whatever it may be. So many peoples they'll be gathered with a common interest or emotion in a particular place. Next, coming to the health programs in India. So there is a many health programs that is available in India. So to prevention of the disease, promoting the health of the peoples, especially when you're coming to the health programs in India, the first one is a National Tuberculosis Elimination Program. Then one more is a National Rural Health Mission. Then along with that, there's a many health programs are there, like a RCH program, MCH, and the ICDSC program, like a different health program. That is the main intention is to promotion of the health and the prevention of the disease. Next one is a personal disorganization. So what do you mean by this personal disorganization? It's a one of the condition in which what will happen here, individual fails to adjust to social norms. Either it may be because of the stress, illness, or a crisis. Okay, so personal disorganization, it is nothing but individual fails to adjust to the social norms, like whatever the rules and regulation that will be available in the society, they can't able to adjust. Why it is happening? Because of the stress, illness, or a crisis. So that is about the personal disorganization. Next we will see one more question under the same short answer, that is a social control. Sorry. So what do you mean by this social control? So social control is one of the process by which what will happen here, society regulates the individual behavior through the norms, values, and the laws. Next one more is under the same short answers, that's a casteism. So what do you mean by this casteism? Casteism is a strong loyalty to the one own's caste, leading to the discrimination or a prejudice against the others. So how it will be affecting, like when the casteism is there, how it will be affecting within the society, that promotes the inequality. So it is starting with the spreading of the inequality will be there, and it will be hinders the national unity and the social harmony. So these are the questions that will becomes with the short answer. So whatever the question that what I have discussed in the previously, so everything I have answered. So next we will look with some other important topic, like what are the main important questions that will be coming for the sociology. So under that one more is that is a social group. So what do you mean by this social group? Social group is a collection of the two or more individuals who interact with the another, share their similar characteristics and a sense of unity or a belongingness, it will be there. Okay, so here what will happen usually with the social group, there is a collection of the two or more individuals. So when you coming to the classification of these social groups, we are going to classify the social group with the primary and the secondary group. So usually this primary and the secondary group, it is given by the Charles H. Cooley. So when you coming to this primary group, like peoples who are in this social group with the primary group, they have the small and the intimate group where the members have this close personal and the face-to-face relationship. It will be the usually the example what we can give for this primary group, like a family, close friends, or a peer group. The main characteristics of this primary group, like they are having a good emotional attachment, long-term association, and the personal care what they are going to do with this primary group. Then coming to the secondary group, usually it is like a larger, impersonal, and the goal oriented group, usually formed for a specific purpose, like only some specific purpose will be there. So they are going to maintain this particular group, usually example like a school, hospital staff, or a political parties. So the main characteristics usually it is they are going to maintain with the formally, it is like a temporary and based on the interest or a work. Then one more type of the group, it is we are going to see there's the in group and the out group. So this is as given by the W.G. Summer. So in this in group and the out group, when you come to the in group, usually the group in which what will happen, individual identify and feels a sense of the belongingness, like they are having there's a we feeling between this in group of the peoples. For example, when you take with this in group, like there is a one's own religion, nation, and the community. Then coming to the out group, usually here what will happen, the group to which individual does not belongingness, it will be there, and usually there is a sense of opposition what they are going to say, they feeling what they are going to say here. For example, like other religious or political parties, if there is a two group of the peoples of the political parties, if there comes with the out groups. Then coming to the next one more type of the social group, there is a formal and the informal group. So when you come into this formal group, usually here what will happen, there is a structure and organized well defined roles and the rules what you are going to see here. Example like a hospital management committee or a nursing councils. And one more is an informal group. Usually here it is formed by naturally by the group of the people. For example, like a friendship or a mutual support without any formal rules. There is no rules regulation they are going to maintain here. For example, like a friends at the workplace or a social or a club. Then coming to the one more type of the social group, there is a temporary and the permanent group. So when you coming to this temporary group, they all are going to form for a shorter period of to achieve a specific goal. Okay, some disaster relief team or a steady group what they are going to maintain. It is like a smaller temporary group, and the one more is a permanent group. Here what will happen? It will be exist for a longer duration and continuously they are going to maintain that group. For example, like a family, nation, or a church. Next, coming to the another topic that is a urban health problems. So usually what are the main urban health problems you are going to see with this peoples in the society? So the major health problems we are going to see in urban, as with the many health issues it will be that will be influencing with the peoples those who are living in urban. There is a overcrowding and the poor housing, it will be there with the peoples, and there is a air and the noise pollution. Usually what we are going to see in the urban area, the water supply and the sanitation problem it will be more, and the more communicable diseases, especially like a tuberculosis, dengue, malaria, it's the most common in this urban area. And the non-communicable diseases like a there because of the stress factor, there is a hypertension, diabetes or heart diseases. And the coming to the next is the mental health problem. So there is a mental health problems also. There is a stress, depression, anxiety is most common in a urban health problems. And the substance abuse, usually people they are more addicted with the alcohol, drugs, smoking, all those things. And there is a occupational health hazards also most common, and the accident and the injuries like because of the road traffic accident or industrial injuries. And there is a nutritional problems like people in a urban, there is a more prone for the junk food and all, right. So there is a obesity, malnutrition in the slums, all these things. And there is a reproductive and the child health problems also most common. And one more is a slum related problem, like if the urbanization is there, what will happen? There is a population explosion is most, then the peoples usually in the slum area, what will happen? There is a poor sanitation will be there, inadequate health facilities will be there. So these are the main health problems especially in a urban. Next, we will see one more is a social stratification. So what do you mean by this social stratification? Social stratification is a process by which society is divided in a different layer or a strata, that is based on the factors like either they are going to based on with the wealth, power, education or a social status. So when you coming to this according to the Melvin Tumin, he has given one more definition with the social stratification. It refers to the arrangement of the any social group or a society in a or into a hierarchy of the position that are unequal to the regardless to the power, property or a social evaluation. So what are the main characteristics of this social stratification? It is one of the universal process. Okay, so it is what the social stratification is there, like how we are going to divide the peoples or strata, that is we are going to see all over in everywhere. That is what we are going to call it is a universal, found in all the society, not in the only one society. We are going to see everywhere, and it is a social, like it is based on the social values. It is not comes with the biological differences, and it is a hierarchy, like some peoples already ranked with the higher than the others, like how the ranking authority it will be there with the so that is what it will be goes with the that said upper lower level, and that is upper level, middle level and the lower level, that is what it will be goes. And it is a relatively stable, like through with the changes can slowly it is happening with the social stratification. That is what we are going to see, and it is influencing with the life changes, like it will be affecting on the basis with the education, health and the resources. Then coming to the types or forms of the social stratification, we are going to classify this social stratification as types, that is a caste system on the basis of that like a birth or a common in India, what you are going to see, like how the caste system that is segregated in India, and the class system. So based on the economic status, like upper caste, lower caste, that is found in a modern society, and the slavery, that is the peoples are treated as the property, and the estate system. So this is found in the medieval era based on their nobility and the land. Then one more is the gender stratification, unequal status between the men and the women, it will be there. So these are the different forms of the social stratification. Next we will see the social system. So what do you mean by this social system? Social system, it is one of the organized pattern of relationship among the individual groups and the institution that together form is functioning a society. Okay, it helps the peoples to become like a together to meet common needs and maintain the social order. So when you coming to this elements of the social system, so it is like one of the social structure. So here there is what will happen, there is a framework of the roles and the status in the society we are going to see. Then social institution, usually the family, education, religion and the economy and the political things what we are going to see, and the values and the norms. So usually it is like a shared beliefs and the values guiding the behavior, it will be there, and the status and the role, like each person's position and the expected behavior what we are going to get it here. And the social control, that is a mechanism to maintain the order and the discipline. So this is the elements of the social system. Then coming to the types of the social system, like it is one of the competitive system, and one more is a authoritarian system, and the democratic system, and the totalitarian system. So coming to this competitive system, so usually this is based on the competition and the individual's achievement. For example, when you take like if the society where the peoples compete are for the wealth and the status, like if they are getting a good job, that is how they are going to maintain the health, that is what the competitive. So with the social system it will be there, and the authoritarian. So here what will happen, usually the power is concentrated in the hands of the one leader or a group. For example, when you take like a military rule or a dictatorship, what they are going to maintain, like if the person who is the head, he is going to maintain all the rules and regulation. Then coming to the democratic system, it is based on the equality, freedom and the participation of all the members. Like for example, modern democratic nation like India, what we are going to see. Then coming to the totalitarian system, usually here the government control all the aspect of the life, no personal freedom they are going to give. For example, here like a Nazi German under the Hitler. So this is a totalitarian system. So these are different type of the social system. Then coming to the social control. So what do you mean by the social control? Social control is a process by which society regulates the behavior of its member to maintain the order and the conformity to social norms and values. So what are the main objectives of the social control? So it is the main thing of the social control, main objective to maintain the social order and the stability. Okay, next objective is to encourage the obedience to social norms and the laws, to prevent the deviant and the antisocial behavior. That is what the antisocial behavior, if it is happening, so that is what it will be controlling, and to promote the social harmony and the cooperation. Then coming to the types of the social control, like which are the main types of the social control? First one is the informal social control. So usually this informal social control operate through with the customs, traditions, family, religions and the community. So it is mainly based on the approval or a disapproval by the society. For example, when you take like a praise or a criticism by the family, or a social acceptance, or a gossip, or a religious teaching, all these things that will comes under the informal social control. Then one more is a formal social control. It is implemented by the authorized institution through with the proper rules and regulation they are going to maintain. Here it is enforced by the government or a legal system. For example, like a police, court, educational institution, laws, punishment for the crime and the violation if anything has happened within the society. So this is about the formal social control. Next, coming to the which are the main important questions that will become with the sociology. So I am going to discuss the main important question, that the repeated question they have asked in the previous year question paper. So like it will goes like this, like explain the influence of the culture, custom and the tradition on the health and the illness. And one more is that describe the impact of the social change and the social disorganization on health. Discuss the demographic characteristics of the Indian population and their importance in the community health nursing. And one more is the explain the role of the family and the community in maintaining the health and preventing the illness. And one more is the question, it will be there with the long essay question, that's a define the social stratification. So explain its caste as a form of the social stratification. So these are the long essay type of the question, it will be there. Next we will see which are the main repeated short essay questions they are asking. That is the first one is discuss the role of the sociology in the nursing practices. So this application of the sociology in nursing practices, or discuss the role of the sociology in nursing practices, either it may asking in a short essay or a long essay. Okay, explain the influence of the culture and the tradition on the health and the illness behavior. Describe the social factor affecting the health. Next one is discuss the impact of the family on health of an individual. Explain the process of the socialization and its importance in nursing. Discuss the causes and effect of the social disorganization. Explain the concept of the social control and its type, and discuss the factors influencing the social changes in India. Then describe the demographic characteristics of the Indian population. Discuss the importance of understanding the community and society in community health nursing. Then coming to the short answers, like which are the main short answer, it will be asking like what is society, define culture, what is socialization, mention the types of the social groups, define family and list its type, and what is social change, define social control, mention its type, what is social stratification, define the caste system, what is social mobility, define the social disorganization, mention the factors that will be affecting with the health behavior, and the what is social institution, give example, define marriage and mention its form. Like a marriage is the one of the repeated question, either it may ask in a long essay, short essay or a short answer. Then one more is a population explosion. So this population explosion also one of the important question. Then along with that some social problems also they will be asking. For example, like a drug addiction, alcoholism, poverty, juvenile delinquency, all this like a social problems. So these are the main important questions in a sociology. Hope you understood the session. If you have any doubt, you can contact with the easiness. Okay, keep learning, keep exploring with easiness. Thank you.